Hi everyone, a very warm welcome back to MEC-TEC, and we are out on the driveway today with the Westfield. We are going to start giving it a proper good clean up. We're going to get the G101 out, cover it, give it a good scrub and jet wash. First thing I'm going to do is take the nose cone back off again, because I want to clean all inside here, around the suspension, around the rad, all that sort of thing. We're going to do the engine bay as best we can, and then we can get onto the body work and hopefully get this thing looking A1 again. That is the plan. So let's crack on and start getting this done. There's a couple of other little fiddly jobs I want to do as well, and hopefully we can get it ready for an MOT. Let's crack on. Although this doesn't look a lot different now it's dry again, obviously it's all been cleaned and degreased and whatever else. I've done the nose cone as well. Unfortunately my battery ran out on my camera, so I didn't get me cleaning the nose cone, but you get the idea. You saw me doing most of the car. The engine bay's come up really nice, as you would have seen from the time lapse. Straight after I blasted it with a jet wash, I then got the airline and obviously got all the water out of all the electrical bits ASAP, because obviously it's inevitable you're going to get some water in there. I tried to sort of go around it as best I could as such, but yeah, we've blown all the fuse holders out, and all the electrical connectors are all dry again now, so that is looking a lot cleaner. You can see in the inner wing in there, it's all red now inside there, whereas before it was all just black and horrible. So that's come up really nice. Dashboard's come up really well. I was well chuffed with that. Little bit of, I just used a bit of leather cleaner on that with a feed in it, so hopefully it'll give it a little bit of life back, and it's only vinyl. But the next thing I'm going to do now is start on the machine polishing process. Now it would normally just be obviously fairly easy, but with this, because it's all funny shapes and whatever else, I think I'm actually going to have to take those front wings off. Now that would be easy if it weren't for the fact that 3 of the bolts that hold that on are in the footwell in there behind that riveted panel. So I'm going to have to drill a few of those rivets out so I can get my hand in there onto the back of the nuts and bolts, because there's three inside the footwell and 3 inside the engine bay. The 3 inside the engine bay you can get to easy. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to get the machine polisher down here, and there are some scratches where the bonnet catchers caught it when the bonnet's come on and off, and I'm hoping, because this is gel coat, I might be able to flat those down and polish them out. That is the hope. So that is going to be the next order of business, is going to get these front wings off, because once the front wings are off, there isn't actually a lot to polish on the side really. It's just I want to obviously get right behind there and in that gap along here, which is going to be really difficult with the wings on. So unfortunately I'm going to have to take them off. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you can see, that is one side now off. I didn't time lapse it because it has taken an age. You wouldn't think 6 bolts would take that long to undo, but when they're inaccessible, and one of them wouldn't undo, so I had to grind that one off, second one up, and I also had to grind the heads off of these ones that go into this wheel arch support here. So that is now off in the garage over there, as you can see. So now we can get this side all polished up. Let's see what we can do. Right, that is the first half of the first wing done. That is a marked improvement. Obviously it's not perfect, but it is nice and red and shiny again now, so that is great. You can see I've not done the top yet, and you can see the difference in colour right down there, look. So I've done that inside there. I'll show that in the light. It's got lovely shine on it now compared to that, which is really dull. So I'm going to carry on like that, get this wing done, and then we can get it put back on. I don't want this wing hanging around off the car too long, because obviously it's more liable to get damaged that way. So the car has come up really well. Obviously that bit under there didn't really get any sun damage, so that was always going to, but you can see that's lovely and shiny all the way along there. I've only gone up to just up below the door line here, so we just want to get these front sections done so that the wings can go back on. Let's carry on. Right, there we go. That is the wing back on, all polished, as you can see. Looks mega shiny, and I've put all new stainless steel bolts in because the old ones had all gone rotten. So you've got stainless steel bolts right the way along there. Now that one there, you can see the second one from the end is not tight yet, and the reason for that is this is what I'm up against in here, where I've had to take this panel off. You can see down in there, actually you probably can't see down in there, but see that jagged hole? That's what someone's cut to get to that middle bolt, and it's not even in line with it because that bar's in the way. So that's what I'm up against. So I'm going to try and get a belt sander in there, try and elongate that hole a bit and get rid of all those sharp edges, because I'm literally cutting myself to shreds trying to get anything in there as far as a spanner or whatever. That was the one I had to cut off, so I didn't obviously have to get anything in there to get the old one out, but to get the new one in I've got to obviously get in there. So that is what I'm going to try and do next, get a belt sander in there. It's only aluminium, smooth that out, try and make the hole a little bit bigger, and then I hopefully should be able to get on the back of that bolt and get it done up. Let's crack on. Rightio, that front wing is now all bolted on all the way along. Just show you in here what I've done. You see I've elongated that hole with a belt sander and made it all smooth all around the edges so you don't cut your hands on it when you try and put a spanner in there. So that's good. I've also just polished half the rear arch just to give you a comparison. Obviously ignore the sticker because that's not going to come up, that's gone. But you can see the difference, half and half there. That is mega. It's come up really well. I mean, it's not perfect obviously, but it ain't far off. It's more than respectable, put it that way. So yeah, I'm going to carry on with the old polishing on that arch, and we'll gradually work our way around. Obviously I'm going to take the spare wheel off because I haven't actually had that off yet, and then we can give that a proper clean up behind there as well. The tyre on the spare is absolutely fine, although it's a little bit old. It's actually the newest tyre on the car, believe it or not, so that's going to stay. It's a fairly new one anyway, but we'll give the back end a complete polish up, and obviously when we get round to the other side we'll have to take that other wing off as well. I didn't want to take both off in one go because otherwise I'd have panels everywhere. So yeah, it's great, coming on, good progress. Let's carry on. Right, it is a couple of days later. I didn't get much further on the polishing as I had to go work, unfortunately, but as you can see the Westfield is up in the air, and we've got 4 brand new tyres fitted. We've got Toyo Proxy TR1s, and I've had these fitted by my friends down at Carlton Tyres in Rainham, so thanks to them for doing that for me. Popped down there this morning, had them fitted, so they are good to go back on, and hopefully that will keep us stuck to the road. So let's get these fitted back on and carry on. Right then, now we've got the new tyres all fitted on, or back on I should say. The back is still up in the air. As you can see, I've removed the spare wheel from the back end, just held on with one long bolt that goes through the middle of the wheel. I want to take this bracket that holds the wheel off. As you can see, it's a bit corroded. I want to grab that wire brush down, give that a cut of black hammerite just to protect that a little bit, and obviously while I've got that off, it gives me a good opportunity to then machine polish the whole rear end. Now you would have seen I got up to the halfway over this arch in the previous clips, so I'm going to carry on down this arch. I'm actually going to take the lights off as well, because obviously there are quite a few little intricate bits around there which you can't get to unless you take that off, which is a bit of a pain, but I'd rather do it properly and get it all as shiny as it can be again, rather than obviously having edges, you know. So I'm going to have to take all these rear lights off one by one, and obviously as I go I'll polish it, put them back on, work my way around, and then obviously we'll carry on down the side of the other side of the car until we get to the other front wing, which we're going to need to take off as well, to obviously do the same as what we did on this side as far as getting it all polished. So let's crack on and get this done and make it look beautiful again. Rightio, I'll give that a quick clean up behind the wheel just with some G101. Obviously that is tyre marks on there, so I'm hoping that's going to polish off with the old compound on a mop. I've got one of the lights off. They literally held on with these little tiny screws which all instantly snapped as I tried to touch them. So I'm going to be putting new fixings on for this, which is no great problem. Obviously it's going straight through fiberglass, so it's easy enough to just drill the hole slightly bigger and put a better fixing in there. You obviously use stainless steel again this time so that they'll be corrosion resistant as such. So now I've got that off, I've given this a quick clean behind here. I can now get this arch mopped, get all behind the edges of this light, obviously best I can. It's quite shiny behind the light, obviously because it's not had any sun on it. And we can get it looking good, and I'm hoping these lights are going to come off the same. I'm not necessarily going to take this filler neck off. I'll look into it, but if I can get away with it I won't. But it might be fairly easy to take off. I haven't even looked at it yet, because obviously I can get to the back of it quite easily through the hatch up here. It may be an easy thing to do, but we'll come to that when we get to it. So I'm going to work my way around, carry on going, and go from there. Right, I'm attempting to take off the next light, which is this fog light. As you can see, it's pretty much disintegrating inside, so it's not ideal. So I think this is going to need a new one. So for now, what I've actually done, as you can see, is I've managed to get the fuel filler off, which means I can get right around this light to polish it with it intact on there for now, because also the bolts go through and they're right behind the fuel tank, and I don't really want to be taking the fuel tank out just to polish this. So for the minute, I've actually got this gluing, because this lens almost fell in half when I took it apart. So I've got that gluing at the moment. You can see the crack down the middle of it, just to keep it in one piece for the minute. It all works, so it'll be fine for an MOT. So yeah, I've got that off. I'm going to put a bit of rag down that hole, so obviously no polish and anything gets in the tank. Then we can polish right around this light without taking this one off. This one we can polish right round as close as we can. Obviously there's nothing really around that one, so that's fine. And obviously we can take that one off as we have on this side to go around that properly. So should be okay to carry on with, I reckon. So I'm going to do that and go from there. as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse, the back end is now looking mega shiny. I've had all the lights out, cleaned them all inside. They've all got new stainless steel bolts holding them on now, because the other ones had literally rusted to nothing. I've basically got up to about there on this arch, so I'm going to get the car turned round now, because that will allow me to do the rest of it in the garage if I want to come out here at night, or if it's raining. I can get that other side polished, get that other front wing off, get all that done. New stainless steel bolts in there. Now I was going to take this spare wheel carrier off and paint it, but it is pretty welded on there as far as rust at the moment, and right this second I don't really want to get involved with spending hours trying to get that off. So for the minute I'm just going to put the wheel back on. It will be sorted, but in a future video, most probably, not today. I really want to get the rest of this polished so it looks all presentable, and then get it MOT'd so we can start enjoying it. That is the plan. So I'm going to carry on. I'm going to get the spare wheel put back on, and then I can turn it round. Actually, no, I've got to get it back on the ground, then I can turn it round and start on the other side. Let's crack on. Right, we're going to have a brief break from polishing it for a minute, because in the post has turned up a new choke cable which we need to get fitted to this. Now you would have noticed in the other videos I had to operate the choke manually from here, because the end has actually pulled off the cable inside the car, so you can't operate from inside the car. So rather than mess about with trying to glue it back on or whatever else, I've actually got a decent metal handled choke cable which is lockable as well, so we can obviously operate it properly from inside the car, and hopefully it won't break again. That is the plan. Now it's fairly easy to take off. We've just got one bolt holding the actual cable on in the mechanism, a little clamp there which holds the cable into this bracket to stop the outer part of it moving, and then obviously it goes in and bolts in underneath the dash inside here, which you probably can't see very well, but it's up there near the key. So we're going to get that old one out, get this one swapped into it, and then we should have an operating choke again. Let's carry on. Right, I've got a light mounted underneath this footwell. Now you can see the cable comes in just here and goes through that bracket. Now I've got the outer piece undone. It literally is one clip, which is that there, and one nut on this little rod here, which obviously the cable goes through. So that is now loose, this end. It just needs pulling through to the inside of the car, and obviously I need to get inside here, which is not going to be easy because it's not very big in here and I'm quite big. So I'm going to try and get in there and underbolt that, and then we can bolt the new one in, hopefully. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you can see there now, the new choke cable and handle is installed. It's got a lock feature on it as well, so you can, at the moment it's locked shut, you literally just turn it like that, it pulls out, and you can lock it out. So that is really good. It's all connected to the other end, I'll just show you. There we go, got the cable coming through here. I've cable tied it to the bottom of the master cylinder, to the throttle cable that's already there. Then it goes into its proper clamp, which is clamped down into, and then into the mechanism there. I'll just show you it working just so you can see. It works lovely. Unlock it and it goes back. So that is job done. Nice little job. So now we can actually start it sitting in the car and not have to operate the choke manually. Lovely jubbly. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse there, I put a masking line up the middle so you can see the difference. That is obviously half polished, half unpolished, and I am pretty chuffed with the way that's come out. As you can see, it's come up lovely and shiny, better than I thought in fact. I've not done the bit inside the recess of the grill yet, because I want to take the grill out to do that, because otherwise that grill's going to mangle my pad up because it's all rusty. That's just 4 rivets that I need to drill out to get that off, and I can refurb that grill then. But yeah, that is a marked improvement. Just trying to show you it from all angles. You can see the shine difference. There we go, that's a good shot to see. So yeah, well chuffed with that. So I'm going to get the other half now machine polished, the same as what you just saw in the time lapse, and then hopefully we can get this nose cone back on and leave it on now, because there's nothing else to do under there, I don't think. So that is going to be good to go. Let's carry on. Rightio, as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse there, that wing is now off. I had to do exactly the same with the other side and cut these 2 bolts because they'd rotted into this bracket. So that will obviously replace with new ones. I did actually put slightly bigger ones in because they were a bit puny and they were digging into the wing quite a lot. So now we need to give that a clean up behind that seal. We can run the polisher right the way down the side now. Now this side's going to be slightly more tricky because the exhaust's in the way, but we should be able to get most of it, I think. So hopefully it will shine up nice, and obviously we can shine up that wing off the car. So obviously that's the reason I took it off, because you can't get right down this back side when it's on the car. Obviously now it's faded, you need to get to it. So that's all off, and then obviously once that's polished we'll put it all back on again, and we'll use stainless steel fixings this time so they won't rot like these ones have, and hopefully that should be good for another few years, or a good few years in fact. Let's carry on. Rightio, that is the wing back on, as you can see. Now the eagle-eyed among you would have seen that I didn't polish this edge when it was out on the floor over there. That was because obviously it was against the floor and it would have got in the way, and I couldn't do that edge when it's back on the car, so I've just run the machine polisher down that edge. Now it's bolted back on and secure. We've obviously got new stainless steel bolts on the top there, all new stainless steel bolts along underneath. They look a lot tidier when you look underneath the wheel arch. You can just see nice stainless steel bolts now rather than rusty metal, so that's good. So next thing I think I'm going to do, now that that nose cone is all nice and shiny in here, I'm going to get that front grille out, because that is letting the side down, so we need to get that out, get that wire brushed with a twisted wire brush in a grinder. Might put it on like a piece of wood or something so I can just push against it, and then we can give that some love and paint and whatever else and make it look nice again so it matches the front of the car. So that is going to be the next job, I think. Let's crack on. Rightio, as you would have seen from that bit of time lapse there, the grille is now painted. I didn't film every stage of painting it because otherwise it would have been the same thing over and over again. But as you can see, I've chosen a nice shade of gold. And the only reason for that really is I thought it looked good against the red, and also I had a can of this paint which was from my old granddad's Escort gear that I used to own as well, and it was kind of nice. He's not with us anymore. That a little bit of his car is now on this car effectively, as far as the colour anyway. So we've got a nice gold grille. I've stuck the Westfield badge back in the middle, so that is all good to go back onto the nose cone now. Now before I put that, well, I can get that put back on the nose cone, but before I put the nose cone on, I noticed that the coolant kept dropping in this tank, and I started looking around and I was thinking, oh no, is it a head gasket, is it this, is it that? Turns out it was leaking from this area here. Now originally I thought it was the freeze plug in the block, but it wasn't actually that. It was just dripping off of this housing. Now having looked at this housing, it wasn't actually the housing that was leaking, it was actually the pipe, luckily enough. And I took the clamps off the pipe to find it had a big split in it there, as you can see. It was right next to the clamp, so you couldn't see it very well, but it was just dripping out of it. So I've been turned to my local motor factors and I managed to get an exact copy of that pipe. Don't know what it's off of, but it's a Quentin Hazel RH1174 for anyone who wants to know, and that fits on there. It will fit exactly the same. I need to trim a little bit off one end of it, and that should go on there, no problem at all. So that will be that leak sorted out, hopefully. So that is superb. So I'm going to give this housing a real nice clean up, because it's got all gunk all over it, obviously from where it's been leaking, and that would obviously then hopefully reseal nicely, and then we can get the nose cone back on, because obviously with this pipe off you can't get to this clamp with the nose cone on. So I'm going to sort that out, get that all cleaned up, and then we'll carry on from there. Right, having cleaned up this pipe and thermostat housing, as you can see I've actually got the thermostat housing off now, and it is not in very good condition. You can see that is really pitted and very thin, and you can see inside there, but it's starting to go rusty inside as well. So I have actually just ordered a new one of these. Now interestingly, there's no thermostat in this for some reason, don't know why, but the new housing that I've ordered, which is actually a Gates housing, I've had to order it from Germany. There were other brands available in the UK, but I like Gates stuff and it tends to be better quality, which I'd rather pay a little bit more and wait a little bit longer for. So I've got a new one on order. That will be here as and when, as soon as possible I guess, with a thermostat as well. So that will eradicate that problem. I didn't want to try and bodge it, because obviously your cooling of your engine is very important and you don't want to be left stranded at the side of the road. Now the pipe has got some pitting in it. It's not horrendous, so I think I'll probably get away with the pipe. That should be okay. But yeah, that was a little bit too far gone. You can see how much of it's missing on that shape there. It's just gone completely flat, and the actual lip of it's corroded away as well, which probably is why it was starting to leak as well, because it was seeping past through that gap, and then that's eventually expanded and split the hose, I would imagine, which is why the hose probably split, because that was corroding underneath it. So yeah, that is unfortunate. We're gonna have to obviously wait a little while for the bit to put that on so we can carry on putting the nose back together, but hey ho, it's an easy fix, so that's the main thing. Right then, that is going to be it for this episode of MEC-TEC. Unfortunately, parts have stopped to play as far as the thermostat housing is concerned, because we're waiting for that to come from Germany now, so it's probably going to take a few days, I would have thought, for it to get here. So in the next episode, I know I've said it a lot, but in the next episode, fingers crossed, we can get the NMOT on this thing and get it on the road where it should be. As soon as the thermostat housing gets here, obviously we'll start getting the next part of the series filmed. We can get the front end put back on, and we can finish the polishing. I've only got the one remaining panel, which is the bonnet, to sort out, get that polished up, looking nice again, and obviously then we can get that all fitted back on. It's literally just 4 clamps on it, so that's no problem at all. If you do like what you see, I have got Instagram, MEC_TEC1985, and I have got Facebook, MEC-TEC, for little sneak peeks during the week of what I'm up to. And all it is left for me to say is thank you very much for watching, and if you want to join me soon for more automotive adventures, I'll see you again next time. Cheers guys.